Okay, now the mic is on.
Now the mic's on.
Now the mic is
Ah,
on.
good.
I don't know.
That's okay. First time
I
using
didn't
slobs.
learn
right?
how to use this one.
Yep. Well, good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Good evening. My name is Mark McPherson. I'm a movie critic for Moviespoon.com and MoviesWithMark.com. And, and TwitchGeek.com, obviously. I also wrote the book Pixels to Premieres, A History of Video Game Movies, which we'll get a little bit more into that later on. And I'm joined here by my lovely wife here tonight.
And I guess you roughly know my name then, since Mark gives out his full name. And so by logic, if you know my first name, you then know my last name. And then you know my whole name.
And by association.
So there you go.
So tonight we are going to be talking about a few things here. We are going to be talking about, what's that?
So I don't know how the cheer system works because this is new for us.
Oh, yeah, the slob system on there.
I don't know what that means.
It's the name of the software. It's just loading the
Labs OBS.
Yeah.
No, there's a thing that says Top Cheer by Molson Q.
Yep, that was a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
Kind of came into help, so.
All right.
So tonight we are going to be talking about the new video game movie, Rampage, and a little indie dramedy called Crystal. It's not you can tell which one most people are going to see this weekend. Then we're also going to be talking about the last weekend with Anime Detour, what we ended up doing there. And then we're going to be looking at the summer movie preview here. So I'm going to be looking at a few of the movies coming out this summer, see which ones we're probably going to end up seeing and which ones are probably going to be duds and which ones are going to probably be worth seeing. So just kind of like speculation forecast. But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention, we'll probably mention that again at the end, but we do have a Movie of the Month giveaway.
Ooh,
Yeah,
movie.
every month we're going to be...
Which one?
This month's is John Wick.
John Wick.
Keanu Reeves' best film in years. Oh my god, I love this movie.
Okay, I saw the sequel and I didn't care for it, but whatever.
Yeah, I know you didn't care for it. But it's probably like his best role that he's had in like forever, man.
Okay.
So yeah, we're giving away John Wick on DVD for this month, and we'll have better like packaging, later months. This is just I want to give somebody something really good this month, and John Wick is probably one of my favorites in my collection, so I figured we'd do that this month. But just in case the packaging is kind of an issue, we're also going to be giving away some other films I recommend: The Good Lie, Kill the Messenger, and The Judge. All great little underrated films, I think from around 2014.
Is that all this month? All for this month?
All for this month. Just,
all of those?
Yeah, for later ones,
Jeez.
we'll have for later months we'll have just like one really good film, and it'll have packaging and everything. But for this month, I felt like it's John Wick, it's really good, but there's no packaging, so might as well throw a little something else in there. So, so we'll throw a little bit in there. Wow. So yeah, you can enter at the link below in Twitch here, and you can enter just by having a Twitch account or following this account or being a subscriber on our account. So there are multiple ways to enter that way. We've already got a few participants, so we're checking out. And you can get John Wick, for free. All right. So, I should also mention, too, since we've become affiliated, we've got like a subscription tier on here now where you can get some little custom emotes. But the first tier has like a little emote of Snake from Escape from New York. Mm. So you can have that cute little. It's kind of cutely designed, I guess. It's by this emote artist called Awkward Bun, who did a really good job on it. So yeah, that's up for subscription there. You can, which by the way, everyone has said this, but might as well reiterate it. If you have Amazon Prime, you already have a subscription that you can put on Twitch. So there'll be instructions. So without further ado, we will get to Rampage, the film based on the classic arcade game. Now, have you ever played Rampage?
I did. I played the Wii version.
Oh, was it any good? I never played the Wii version.
I guess. I don't know. I only played it briefly at a friend's house. So.
I was trying to think how that would, because you had like the motion controls with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, because this was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. It's Wii.
Huh?
Yeah, it's Wii. Yes, it's pretty long.
I think you like shake it or something, or push buttons. I can't remember.
I guess it'd be kind of fun, yeah, because for most people who remembers the game, you play as giant monsters. You basically have to smash up a city. There's like objectives about how many windows you got to smash and what people you got to eat or avoid the military, but who cares? You get to play as giant monsters. That was the whole fun of it. Might be actually fun in the Wii or like VR game, something like that. Or just see yourself smashing stuff. They're pretty cool. But yeah, this is based on that, and of course, the big question is like, well, how the hell do you adapt Rampage? At one point, we thought Yui Boll was going to adapt Rampage,
Yui Boll,
because he actually made a film called Rampage, but it was after he was kind of done with his kind of like video game movie career shtick. So just in case you're wondering, yeah, there is a Yui Boll movie of Rampage, but it's about a guy who runs around town and shoots everybody. So.
Couldn't it be about Yui Boll wrestling people?
That's kind of in the movie. They addressed that in Heckler.
Really?
Yeah, they because there was that documentary Heckler about was it Son of the Mask? Jamie Kennedy, and how terribly
how big of a pussy he is.
Yeah, and how terribly he took criticism. So naturally, he gravitated to Yui Boll with his boxing match there.
Wow. Son of the Mask was objectively bad.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it, and the whole time I was there, I was like, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
I took a younger sibling there, so.
But,
that's my excuse.
But enough about Yui Boll and Jamie Kennedy. They're talking about Rampage. And of course the question arises like, well, how do you adapt like giant monsters in there? Now, there's a number of different ways you could take it. And they make this, the director, Brad Peyton, kind of takes the smart route here of kind of making it silly.
And making it, The Rock is raising a gorilla. And
yeah.
He does sign language.
He does sign language.
That's what I got from the trailer anyway.
Yeah, they established that Dwayne Johnson plays this guy Davis, who's a primatologist. So he does nothing but study apes.
Wow. So, like, he's been a primatologist. He played whatever the hell that was in Jumanji 2. Just exploring all
adventure
over.
Guy. And he's wearing that same shirt, that same stained white shirt.
He's just now an adventure guy. That's him.
You could now mash up like the trailers for like Jumanji, Rampage, and that other one, Skyscraper.
Somebody do this. Somebody do it.
You could totally do it because
somebody do it.
I initially saw the trailer for Skyscraper and I was like, that's like, oh, it's Rampage. Oh no, wait, what? Is it Skyscraper?
Somebody do this.
He's always wearing the same shirt the whole time. It's always the white shirt that gets all dirty from all the action.
Does he do the smolder?
He doesn't quite do the smolder here.
Boom.
And that's actually kind of one of my problems with the film is
no smolder?
Well, there's not quite smolder.
With the film?
well, it would have been nice to see a little bit. I mean, like, let's be fair. You do get a lot of some of like the knowingness of The Rock. Like, there's a great scene where he has to punch out some army guys, and he gets like his big bicep around him. He's like, it's a big arm, don't fight it, So it's another one of his kind of knowing roles. But I want it to be goofier. Like, way goofier.
Because it's Rampage.
Well, because Rampage, like, and they established pretty early on that, yeah, it's a goofy concept, because it's about this company that's developed this mutant gas that's going to make weapons out of animals. And it was on a satellite, except the satellite blew up, and then 3 of the canisters landed on Earth. And then some wild animals, inhaled the toxins, and then they became giant monsters and started roaming around and murdering people and destroying buildings, so...
But it's up to the giant gorilla to save the day.
Well, kinda.
Maybe?
He's kinda under like the spell of the gas. Because here's the thing: this movie plays it plays really fast and loose with the concept of like what this gas does to them. Because apparently the gas mutates them and makes them angry, but they can kind of be controlled by radio signals. So, yeah, they kind of play fast and loose with it here, just to,
It's like those berries in Zootopia.
Oh, the berries were like a MacGuffin?
No, wait, they weren't berries. The berries were the trick. The night howlers or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the night howler stuff, yeah. Yeah, so essentially it's an aggression gene. But the thing is, like, they throw some more of that, that kind of, like, 1950s, science babble over it, saying, like, oh, it was developed from, like, animal genomes, so, like, they have all these different genes, which makes them both big and mutated and invincible.
Are we bringing back the 1950s science fiction movies? Is that what's going on
We
now?
kind of have. I don't know if you noticed some of these monster movies, but they're pretty close. Like,
you're the one who likes monster movies.
I love them. I love. I mean, like,
you like those 1950s movies.
well, in a cornball sense,
Yeah.
and that's what I kind of liked about last year's Kong Skull Island, is that it did realize, you know, that you had to make it silly, you had to make it a little bit funny, and parts of that and parts of it really work.
Were you the one who told me they made an ex-girlfriend go to one of the monster movies or something? Like, they were scared? I don't know.
Oh, back in the day, yeah, we brought a bunch of girls to see Peter Jackson's King Kong.
There you go. I still haven't seen that movie. Clearly, I wasn't the girl.
It was kind of funny to watch them squirm in that scene with the pit with the maggots that ate them. So it was kind of funny.
Gross.
The good news is, though, you know, unlike Kong Skull Island or Peter Jackson's King Kong, there's not as much gross out stuff here. It's mostly just kind of like straight PG-13 action. I mean, you do get to see the ape do some pretty crazy stuff, like smash cars and throw people, and chuck people against stuff, and you will get to see the ape eat someone at some point, but not gory. They'll eat them whole, because it gets that big at one point.
And then they come out later looking for their shoe.
If only. That'd be too fitting. I love that.
Sorry,
from
that
Pacific
might have been
Rim.
a bit of an in-joke. It has to do with the ending to Pacific Rim.
I think most people have seen Pacific Rim.
Post-credit ends of Pacific Rim that I love. So
Yeah.
the first movie, not the second.
So I mean, Dwayne Johnson, he's kind of like the the knowing guy. He has this relationship, like the ape is George. That he's
George.
And there we go. You just say George, and then you got the song right in your head there.
George in the jungle.
But yeah, they kind of have some decent camaraderie. They have, you know, enough familiarity with each other where they can do sign languages and make jokes with each other, especially really crude jokes with sign language over the time, which gets a little funny.
They're telling dick jokes with their sign language.
Kind of, sort of. He makes some suggestive sign language there, you know. And oh yeah, at one point he figures out, you know, how to make like the middle finger and starts flipping off the rock at several points. Yep. So like the ape does a lot of fake out and stuff like that. So it's cartoonish, you know. You got to recognize it on that level. I just wish it had a little bit more of the gall to go a little bit more cartoonish with it.
Yeah.
Because it's only once we get into the exposition-y moments of trying to find, you know, reasoning for why the creatures have to go to the city and have to blow up Chicago. They find a reason, but they just kind of like slog through it with a little bit of charisma here and there. Because Dwayne Johnson, you know, he's always fun to watch. But he's not given much of an arc here, and I didn't expect a whole lot of one, but his whole arc is that he doesn't like dealing with people. He likes wild animals more than people.
I don't know, The Rock always seems like such a people person, though.
Well, they kind of give him a little bit of a backstory in that he used to hunt down poachers as a military guy.
So he's like, I don't like people, they kill animals.
Yeah, because like he rescued George when his family was being savaged. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so
that's why George is in the trailer. Like at first, he's that baby gorilla that doesn't look like a gorilla at all.
Yeah, for like that once, like I remember when George was a baby, and just for that one flashback, and then we get to George as his regular size, and kind of like growing heavier and heavier and getting more angry and less control over him. But of course, Dwayne Johnson's going to be the one to tame his heart, or find an antidote. Whichever comes
Rock
first.
is a big softie. I'm sorry, Dwayne Johnson's always Dwayne the Rock Johnson to me. So.
Well, essentially, I mean, yeah, his character here is honestly not that much different from his characters in like Jumanji and Fast and the Furious, which is, I mean, it's fine. That's the role he does.
What about his character Moana?
See, yeah, Moana's, that's in a different territory.
Combo breaker.
Moana is definitely his most out there one, especially when you consider his other voice work he's done, which is not Snarf.
Oh, what's the other voice work he's done?
Planet 51.
I don't think I saw that one.
His voice is so bad you wouldn't even recognize it in the movie.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Why is he trying to do like a thing?
He was struggling back then. You know, he's on a hot streak right now. But there was a
Yeah.
time when, you know, he'd take anything, you know.
You mean
So,
when he did the Scorpion King?
I was thinking more when he did the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, the Tooth Fairy. Didn't see that one. That looked like hot garbage.
Tooth Fairy and the game plan and Escape from Witch Mountain and all that. So.
Escape from Witch Mountain.
No, Race to Witch Mountain. That's
yeah,
sorry.
So that was on TV when we were in the hotel the other weekend.
It was.
And I immediately changed the channel once I realized what it was. I've already seen like one of the older versions.
Yeah.
I don't need to see another one.
No, you really don't.
I can't imagine they changed that much of the plot to make it better. So.
No, it was during that time where Disney was just like, whatever, let's dig up whatever we got. Not like kind of now where we had stuff like Jungle Book and Pete's Dragon, but yeah, that's different stuff.
Jungle Book was actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, I love the Jungle Book. So then you got kind of like some of the expected characters who come in. You got Naomi Harris playing Dr. Kate Caldwell, who is a former scientist who says, like, I know the antidote and I know exactly what's happening with these creatures. And so she's got to help Dwayne Johnson out.
So she's the scientist then?
Yeah, she's the scientist and kind of love interest, but not directly. She's kind of like, you know, there to be teamed up with The Rock at all times. But for the most part, just because, you know, he's got to have someone to converse with when he's not around George. Because when he's around George, it's pretty much a buddy picture.
That sounds fun.
Which is fun, yeah. You want to see Dwayne Johnson team up with a giant ape? Well, you're gonna get it here, you know.
Giant ape human team up.
I actually really like the and usually like the for like the villains of this type of stuff, you make them forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the villains played by the villain is the CEO of this company that's developed the gas called I think it's called like Energene, something like that. They're a science company that's like denying this all up and down. It's like, oh, we had no involvement, but you know, we're gonna get the military to kill the monsters, and then we'll get the sample, and then we're gonna keep doing research.
George.
And the CEO is played by I'm gonna see if I can get her name right here. It's like Malin Akerman, who's just kind of like this kind of this kind of well dressed kind of like vixen who. She tries to be like sexy, but also like kind of like conniving. So she's kind of like always scheming. I love watching her on screen most of the time. But mostly because she has great chemistry with her brother, who's played by Jake Lacey, who's kind of like this bumbling cohort, who's always kind of like, I don't want to go to jail for this. This is crazy. You're insane, sis. So it's kind of fun to watch him kind of bicker and meddle. There's almost kind of a running joke with him where whenever you see him in like the office when he's complaining, he always has some kind of like junk food in his hand. Like at one point he's got a cheeseburger, another point he's got like a Pop-Tart, and I think it might be a napkin, but it looked like a Pop-Tart holder, like a little cozy for it.
They do that in some things. Like remember Harry Potter parody, whatever.
That musical thing?
Yeah. Ron always had snacks.
Yeah.
It was a joke in the show.
See, it's almost
funny when people have food.
It kind of is. Because I think it adds to like the ridiculousness of it too. Because I mean that whole office is kind of, it's kind of like that kind of ridiculous villain environment where they've got all these cameras that they somehow have feeds all over the world that they can look at. They have like a diorama of the satellite that blows up and say smash because they're angry, and then of course because to go full silly for a video game movie, they have a Rampage arcade cabinet in the background. They don't directly point it out. You have to have an eye for it, but it's there. It's there. It's just like Double Dragon,
It seems like one of the movies where you have to understand going into it that it's just gonna be corny or something.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those films where if you come out of it saying like, "Oh man, that was dumb," it's like, well,
you should know going in that it's dumb.
You're kind of dumb for saying that. So, it's like, of course, it's giant monsters running around ripping up Chicago. Of course, it's dumb. And the thing is, like, by the time we actually do get to the... oh, wait, I almost forgot one of my second favorite characters here is Jeffrey D. Morgan playing a secret government agent who he's kind of in between. He's kind of like, he doesn't trust Dwayne Johnson, but he also wants to, stop this ape at all, at the correct way, as opposed to the colonel who just wants to, fire missiles at it and H-bombs and maybe it'll go away, which it won't. So Jeffrey D. Morgan is fun to watch, but no more fun than he is on kind of he's pretty much just playing Negan from Walking Dead. Which you're not familiar with him.
Is it? Didn't I just listen to a joke where they said that he always played the same character, basically, or he was always somebody's dad, too, they also joked? Which, those two things seem contradictory.
Well, thankfully, then he might...
It's your dad who's going to bash your head in with a baseball bat covered in barbed wire? I'm sorry, that's like a really common Halloween and convention costume to the point where I'm kind of sick of seeing it. And I don't know. I don't actually watch The Walking Dead. I'm just bored with zombies and stuff.
Honestly, the only reason I watch The Walking Dead
TV these days,
is the only reason I watch it is for Jeffrey Dean Morgan, because he's fun to watch, mostly because he's just kind of got that kind of like hint of Southern drawl with that cocky smile. Always goes like, well, you just fell into a world of shit, son. And he kind of does pretty much does the same type of voice and demeanor for this character as well.
Zombies on Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. you get The Walking Dead. You gotta have zombies, otherwise you go walking something else.
Anytime I've passed by a TV or somehow interacted with it, like anything that has a clip from it on it now, basically there's no zombies. It's just Negan.
They save the zombies for the for the money shots of the gore. So
really, because it looks like Negan's just killing people. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, he's killing people. The zombies are kind of like the weather now in The Walking Dead. You just prepare for it.
It just sounds like the show went to pot.
It's going a little downhill. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's the only reason to watch it. He's thankfully not the only reason to watch Rampage, because you got giant monsters running around. Which they're fun. I mean, you got George, running around, barreling, smashing into stuff. You've got Ralph, the wolf, who just bites people and savages them, and at one point it's been shown in the trailer, but at one point he can fly. So
flying wolf.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound right.
But the thing is, like, it does lead to the best line in the film, which is, by this point, like, Dwayne Johnson is, like, accustomed to all this madness that when he finally sees it happen, he's just kind of like, of course the wolf flies. Yes. in this type of film, of course it does. And then
it makes sense now, because why not? Wait, did the wolf fly in the game?
Yeah, all these, the wolf is in the game, too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing, is they try to put all three of the monsters in here, and they get around it they just say, like, oh, people have found it online, and they started calling him Ralph. No reason, just
okay, that doesn't make sense, but whatever.
Look, it's Ralph from the games. We just got to get it in there. How do we get it in there? Just say, I don't know, internet sensation. It's Ralph. Good, got it. Next animal. They reveal Ralph early on, where he gets to savage like a whole bunch of mercenaries at one point. But the thing is, they leave out Lizzie, the kind of crocodile, lizard, Godzilla type creature, whatever you want to call him. They save her to like the very end, like the very climax of the film, which kind of makes you wonder, like, well, wait, wasn't anyone tracking it? I mean, I guess it was underwater most of the time, but you'd think you'd see it now and then. But
eating boats and shit.
Yeah, because even when they show, like, they have, like, a build-up to Lizzie coming. They show her, like, get into the water and start, like, knocking out some boats. They're like, you might think that might have gotten some concern. But then again, there's other giant monsters running around. Now, the thing is, most of their action scenes that they have when they're destroying the city, they're kind of fun. They're mostly fun when they're in close-up or medium shots. Because there's a lot of... I get the feeling that Brad Payton is afraid that he's going to make like a Michael Bay film, because there's a lot of shots in the city where it's just it's pulled back wide shots, so you can see like everything that they're doing. So you can see everything, because at one point, like, George and Ralph are both savaging like helicopters and tanks in the same scene, and you can see clearly what each one of them is doing in the scene, but you're at such a distance where it doesn't feel as as shocking or as exciting as it does, because there are later scenes where you're right up in the action. You're kind of looking up at these giant creatures that are like stomping on soldiers and taking gunfire, and it's pretty cool in those scenes. But I get the feeling like he's afraid that he's gonna be like Michael Bay, where he just gets the camera in too close and just shakes it all over the place. But no, he's pretty good with the camera here. So I almost wish, I kind of want to give like Brad Payton more incentive to keep going like nuttier and crazier with it. Because like no, you're doing fine, man. You just got to amp up the insanity of this all. Because you want that. Because like my biggest problem with the film is you want to have that one moment that you see in like King Kong or the new Godzilla where you just see an action. It's just like, oh, that made the movie for me. I had to see that just for that. Like in Godzilla, there's a great moment where he like forces open the mouths of one of the monsters and just atomic breaths into him. And it's like, that's awesome. I've never seen that Godzilla film. I wanted to see that. And then in King Kong, Skull Island, you had a scene where he's basically ripping up like an octopus and like pretty much like eating him up at that point. It's like, oh, that's cool. There's never really a cool moment like that in Rampage. I mean, there's don't get me wrong, it's fun. There's some cool stuff in there. Like there's a few characters that have silly deaths. There's Ralph Savage's people. You have Lizzie eventually decapitate someone at some point. It gets pretty gruesome here.
I guess.
But I just want to reiterate, yeah, it does get pretty gruesome with like some of the kills, but not as gruesome as Kong Skull Island, because Kong Skull Island, I think it's PG-13, but somehow they got away with making a cannibal Holocaust reference in there.
Oh.
Which,
okay.
Which if anyone's seen Cannibal Holocaust, they probably know the scene I'm talking about. So yeah, it has its fun moments. I mean, I liked how everything was kind of set up and everything. I liked the characters. It's kind of one of those films that you just kind of smile at, but you just keep waiting to kind of have like a like either like a big laugh or to get closer to the screen. And I had that with the new Godzilla. I had it with the new King Kong, and I didn't quite have it with Rampage. So it just kind of feels like kind of your more kind of standard popcorn entertainment for this, because like there's a scene where George eventually realizes, I'm not going to be the bad ape and I'm going to be the good ape and smash up the other robot. Michael Bay. Sorry, this is not like Voltron where they're going to edit it. No, like they're monsters, kaijus. Kaijus. No. It should be kind of cool that you get to see an albino ape smash up a giant wolf, and it is kind of cool. But you're gonna like, there should be more here. There should be a little bit more insanity, maybe a little bit more crazier deaths, just a little something more. Because most of the time it just feels like an updated version of kind of those classic giant monster movies that were silly, overabundant with exposition and kind of silly with the action. So that's what you want out of a film, But yeah, I mean, essentially, you'll get what you pay for. If you want to see Dwayne Johnson, strut his stuff and crack jokes, you'll see that here. If you want to see a giant ape rip up a town, you'll see that plenty. You'll get to see him pretty much demolish a huge skyscraper that will tumble to the ground. So, but yeah, it just felt like missed opportunities, especially since they set up these characters at the this wildlife preserve where Dwayne Johnson works. They kind of set up a little bit of a love triangle that might happen there.
With the animals?
Not with the animals, but he has like other like kind of student and other primologists working with him there. They're studying the animals. It seems like they're setting up for a love interest, or I mean, kind of like a love triangle going on there. But then they immediately divert from that once the ape goes giant, and then we forget all about them. So just kind of kick into the curb. The same thing happens with Joe Manganiello. I can never say his name right. He plays a mercenary at one point. You think there's going to be something more with him. Not really. No. They kind of end that arc pretty quick. So I kind of feel like it's fun, but there was like you can't help but feel there's a bit of missed potential here.
Interesting.
So I mean, it is what it is. If you want the standard popcorn entertainment, that's what you'll get. So
now you shall tell me about this movie Crystal I've never heard of.
Crystal, yes. This film, this little indie dramedy, it premiered at the Virginia Film Festival last year.
I didn't know Virginia had a film festival.
Well, they do. They had Crystal there. It's directed by William H. Macy, and
I didn't know he directed.
Apparently he has been. It just pops up. It's like, hey, I'm a director now.
Things I'm learning today.
But it's directed by him, and he kind of co-stars in it. And have you ever seen the show Shameless that he's on?
Nope.
Okay, it's kind of, I can't help but feel like he's trying to embody some of like the craziness of Shameless and try to put it into a film that seems like it should be a romance. Because what it is you have this kind of young adult called by the name of Taylor, who's played by Nick Robinson. And Taylor has, yeah, that's right, Taylor. They call him Tay-Tay in the film for some stupid reason.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah, get ready for this to get pretty dumb because it's gonna go dumb quick.
Man.
So Taylor is he's this kid who kind of has a heart condition, where if he gets too excited or he gets too like anxious or something like that, he's gonna start having chest palpitations and he's got to go to the hospital.
Why is this already reminding me of that animated movie we watched, The Boy with the Cuckoo...
The Boy with the Cuckoo Clawed Heart?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the heart.
Yeah. Heart problems.
Heart problems.
Oh, he's going to get excited and then he'll die. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the classic, you know, kind of like Boy in the Bubble type stuff, you know.
Yeah.
At least it starts that way. Because at one point he's on the beach and he sees Rosario Dawson there. He doesn't know who this woman is, but he really likes her and he wants to ask her out. But before he can get that far, his heart goes nuts and he has to go to the hospital.
Yep.
But for some reason she comes with him because she's like, I don't know, he went down, I got to help him, so I might as well stick with him a little bit. So he really wants to impress this girl now. Now he works at an art gallery in town, and
fancy.
Yeah, he works at an art gallery that's run by Kathy Bates' character, and Kathy Bates is usually fun to watch, but here she's just kind of like, oh, I'm old, you know, back in my day we all did this. So.
Oh, poor Kathy.
Yeah, she's kind of wasted here. They even give her like an illness too. It's like, and you're in it for a few scenes, can't you just crack jokes?
You know what that reminds me of?
What does that remind me?
The Room. Oh, and by the way,
I have cancer.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty close to, well, I don't want to say it's on The Room levels, but it comes close here.
So it's somewhere between The Boy with the Cuckoo Clock Heart and The Room. Got it.
Put that on the poster. So he wants to impress Rosario Dawson, so she finds out that she's a recovering alcoholic. And she goes to Alcoholics Anonymous. So she's
really?
like,
she finds out that she's a recovering alcoholic, right?
Oh, so he. Pronoun trouble. So he finds out that she goes to Alcoholics Anonymous. So he decides like, oh, I'm going to infiltrate it and try to, you know, get into her good graces. And then through hearing like some motivational speaker or something like that, he becomes inspired to adopt and this is where the film kind of goes off the rails, to adopt this kind of like James Dean rebellious persona to him, to kind of be the cool guy who will get in good graces with the former alcoholic prostitute.
You know what that reminds me of?
Oh, we're going reference crazy. What does that remind you?
Michael Cera in Twin Peaks doing the bad Marlon Brando.
See, I was thinking you were gonna say Michael Cera in Youth in Revolt, where he kind of did the same thing.
That's the same thing as that.
It's the same thing. Wow. Why did they get Michael Cera for this?
Wow.
What's he doing now?
Maybe he retired.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, but so he wants to get into her good graces, or he adopts this really ridiculous persona, and it's dumb that he takes this route, but it's even more ridiculous that she buys into it. She's kind of like, oh, well, you know, I'll go with him, even though, you know, Rosario Dawson, you know, I don't know.
How old is she these days compared to this character?
Taylor is apparently, I think he's somewhere in like his 20s. And
isn't she like in her 40s by now?
Yeah, and that's the thing is,
she's just one of those, you know, MILFs.
She's got a kid.
Yeah, she's a MILF.
She's a
MILF.
Who's roughly Taylor's age.
Yeah, living the dream. Living the dream.
And so naturally, her son is not really digging this, but he kind of goes with it, mostly because I guess, you know, he wants someone to hang out with, and
they can hang out, play video games.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair too, so he can't really escape him that easily either. So he's like, whatever, sure, I'll have fun with you. You know, you're gonna be my dad. It's creepy, but whatever.
Guy you can hang out with and all that stuff. Come on, stepdad goals, right?
Yeah. Now, if the film were just this, it could be okay. It could be decent, but then in comes a pimp to kind of like get revenge on Rosario Dawson.
What?
And
did
if you
her
think
character from Sin City just like spill over into this?
She might have.
Is in the same universe?
You can't escape. Like Frank Miller's characters keep coming after you.
Why do they always make her kind of? I mean, well, not always, but think about it. 'Cause she was in Rent too, as the one that was the stripper and with AIDS.
Yeah.
Did lots of drugs and
everywhere.
stuff.
But when it goes even crazier because the pimp, I forget exactly how this happens, but apparently he breaks into the hospital and starts taking prescription drugs, and it somehow makes him see hallucinations of the devil that is making out with his ear.
Have you ever, like, for writing and all that?
Yeah.
Heard that, the way you don't want to set up a movie is to be like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Yeah.
Rather than this causes this to happen.
Right.
You want it to be this causes this to happen so people can follow your logic.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going, and this happened, and then this happened.
Well, no.
It just seems crazy.
Usually
weird and unpleasant.
Well, the thing is, it kind of builds to that, but the thing is, like structurally, it kind of builds on like what this happens, but it's so off in tone for what's going here. And I mean, dramedies always run the risk of doing this, but this one does it kind of like in spades. Like it goes from being like a kind of like a heartfelt drama to like really bad, like kind of like slapsticky sitcom type stuff. Like there's the weird moment where Taylor invites Rosario Dawson's character over for dinner at his parents' house. And of course, the family's like, oh, I don't know too much about this girl. And then once they bring her in there, they kind of like, most of like the family kind of leaves the room and they end up doing odd things. Like apparently Taylor's brother goes out back to smoke some weed. And then
I thought you stayed inside to do that.
Well, if you don't want your Christian parents to know, then you gotta hick it outside,
Do those kind of people still care about that kind of stuff? I don't know.
Kinda, cause like they're kind of very much like devout religious people, where they,
Sure.
well, they established kind of early on that they don't really approve of like drugs and masturbation in the house and stuff like that. Classic,
Well, what are you gonna do? Go sit in the backyard and whack it off?
So like, well, they set up like William H. Macy to be kind of the more like religious guy who's like I'm very all about my religion, and then they reveal later on it's like, oh, that Rosario Dawson you brought home, I think I might know her
From work?
from some kind of work, So yeah,
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of other movies he's been in somehow.
yeah. But then it gets even. But then, of course, because the pimp comes into play, and there's this really bizarre moment where it gets very slapsticky, and eventually a toe gets cut off.
Ew.
So it kind of like it feels like it's trying so hard to be weird and quirky with all this, and just none of it works.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, because you had Kathy Bates, and she's just saying like oh, everything was old. You have William Fichtner, who's playing just like a terrible doctor. Like he's flat out says like, oh, I'm the worst at my job, which could be funny, except there's a moment where he finally comes to some brutal realization. It's like, man, I really suck as a doctor. Like I don't know what to do with my life. So you're supposed to be comical and slapsticky. What's going on with this film? What is happening?
He just needs to go back with Kathy Bates and tell Johnny he's the best customer.
See, and that would actually be an interesting development.
Oh, hi, doggy.
Had the film not gone to that point, it would have been fun. But it keeps going back and forth between so much of these kind of like random points and like parts of this tone that don't work. Like he's trying to do like the leather jacket, like I'm the cool guy type of thing. It's like, why is this happening? What's happening? It tries, like I said, it's a dramedy that tries to balance like comedy and drama, and it really can't do both. When it does do drama, it's melodrama. When it does do humor, it's sitcom humor, and it just goes back and forth, and you want to hurl after a while. The roller coaster of it. So yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend Crystal.
Would you recommend Rampage? I can't remember if you said.
I would recommend Rampage as popcorn entertainment.
Okay.
I would say if you just want to see Dwayne Johnson, not break out of his shell and just do his usual stick, and if you want to see just giant monsters kind of like standardly destroy a town without any like hugely surprising kills, or comedy like that, then yeah, it's not bad. It's solid popcorn entertainment, I would say. Which is kind of, I'm kind of glad that there's something like that, because most of the films I've seen this year have either been just like some of like the best films I've ever seen, or just kind of like forgettable stuff. Not stuff that's terrible, but just kind of forgettable.
What did you see that was the best thing you've ever seen?
Isle Dogs.
Year? Okay, maybe you got me there.
A Quiet Place and Annihilation. It's been
I didn't see those.
There's a lot of great genre pictures this year, man.
Okay.
Which is why I'm kind of not looking forward to summer. Because now, like, it used to be the time you get excited for summer, because that's when all like the fun genre pictures would come out. But now, like, winter and spring has kind of become like the experimental genre season.
Yeah, you're just gonna get all the Disney dumps.
Sometimes.
That's what's coming up for you.
A few things. So we'll run through some of the films that are coming up through the summer. Some of them that I might see, some of them not see. So we'll just go straight into what's going to happen next weekend. Next weekend they're going to have Super Troopers 2.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of looking forward to this, because, you know, for a lot of people know, Super Troopers is by the Broken Lizard Troupe. They did the previous film. They also did Mustache Rides. You're gonna be in the film.
No. Okay, continue.
The third one's gonna be all female Super Troopers. And they'll all have mustaches. Yes, they're all gonna have them with like their hair like that. All tied up like that. Mother of God. But Super Troopers 2 was apparently crowdfunded by people who wanted this film to happen, and because Broken Lizard Troupe wanted to make it.
Nice.
So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out, and mostly because they wanted to come out on April 20th. So 420.
Oh. Wasn't thinking.
So it took a moment. Took a moment there.
No, Infinity Wars comes out on the 27th.
Yep, that's.
What else comes out? When does Deadpool come out? Next month?
Yep, a little later next month. There's a few. There's a few like kind of almost kind of like dead zones here
Dead zone.
For not, well, because like the weekend.
I like those because that means you'll be at home more.
Kind of, or I might see a smaller film. Well, because there's kind of like some interesting kind of smaller films that they kind of sneak in during the weeks that they know that, you know, no one else would dread, you know. So, because I mean, like the weekend of Infinity War, like it's cleared. There's nothing else opening against it, because like it's Infinity War. What are we gonna do? It's gonna make like $200 million, and no, we're not gonna get any money. There's like some smaller limited release films coming out around that time, but nothing. I think actually Kings is expanding around that time, which we talked about last week. So I don't know. Maybe you'll find counter programming audience. But yeah, right after Infinity War, they're gonna do I think it's the remake of Overboard. They're doing the one where the guy gets, you know, memory loss, and a woman decides to take on as her husband. So
okay,
it's an odd little concept. Yeah, there's some smaller films. I think there's Bad Samaritan that has David Tennant in it.
David Tennant?
Yep. It's a little horror thriller. Sometimes horror films can actually, if you sneak them in, because like horror films are usually pretty cheap.
You know what I always meant to watch and never got around to?
What was that?
The David Tennant version of, what was it, Fright Night?
Oh, Fright Night.
I never got around to watching that.
Me either.
I intended
I should probably
to,
see that. Yeah.
and I never got around to watching it. We should probably watch that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like David Tennant.
Yeah,
I liked him as Doctor Who and Barty Crouch Jr. and
he can be good.
He was in a romance movie I saw that I liked.
What was that show? That detective show he was on for a while.
Oh, Broadchurch.
Broadchurch, yeah.
I watched some of that, but it didn't seem like it was going anywhere. It was taking too long.
Kinda.
There's too much to it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Wasn't getting into it.
Well then,
you did alright on DuckTales.
Was it? Oh, DuckTales.
The one episode I saw of DuckTales.
Well, now he's Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck. The weekend after that, again, it's another kind of empty space. Well, actually, this might be a good space to get some comedy in there, because they're going to premiere the new Melissa McCarthy movie, Life of the Party.
That actually looked decent.
Yeah, I've been surprised
you know,
with the previews for that.
I liked Melissa McCarthy in Spy, but I don't think I've liked anything else she's been in as a comedic actor.
No, you see,
I did like St. Vincent's, but she wasn't as comedic in that.
well, she was supporting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can kind of, if you track like her films, you can kind of see where they do best. Like if if an accomplished director is behind it or Paul Feig is behind it, she's usually really good. Mm-hmm. She's at least well written.
Except in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, like I said, that's a Ghostbusters. That's yeah.
That's another story.
Well, that's different. I mean, let's put it this way: like her R-rated comedies, I think are really good.
Spy was amazing.
Spy's
I loved
awesome.
That was a great movie.
Yeah,
so.
it was doing there. It was great satire and convention there. But anytime like she gets involved with projects with her husband, that's when it goes really terrible.
Bad fat jokes.
Yeah, that's
up
when
and down.
That's when you get stuff
Show
like
a little respect for your lady. Don't be dumping on her appearance all the time.
Well,
come on, man.
In most of those films, like it's mostly just like fat jokes throughout. I mean, she's not.
They did maybe like one or two in Spy, but it wasn't the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't like Paul Blart levels, you know.
No. The thing with her in Spy was that her character was actually really competent.
Yeah.
And that she was just getting overlooked.
Yeah, well, that she was
surprised them all.
That she was competent and meek. That she didn't have enough faith to be in the field, even though she knew everything about the field. So she kind of had an arc. It was interesting, but then you get her in stuff like Identity Crisis and Identity Theft and The Boss, which are just like horrible to watch. You can't really get into them. But yeah, Life of the Party.
Isn't The Boss the one where she had that neck brace on the whole time?
Yes.
And I was really confused why she was just wearing a turtleneck the whole time in the trailer.
Yeah.
What's going on with her neck?
A whole bunch of stuff. But for Life of the Party, essentially just being, it's pretty much just like, was it Rodney Dangerfield Back to School? It's pretty much just that with her, but it's right for material for her to work with, and the jokes that at least that have been in the trailer have looked fairly original. So
could be good.
It could be. I really like seeing Melissa McCarthy and stuff like like Spy and The Heat and Bridesmaids. So just see her get back into form is great.
I didn't see The Heat or Bridesmaids. Just Spy.
They're pretty good.
Spy.
They're on kind of the same level as Spy in terms of like their convention that they shatter. Like they really do play up the whole buddy cop genre in The Heat really well. Cool. So yeah, I honestly think that could work. I mean, because it comes out about 2 weeks after Infinity War, so it has a chance to make a decent mint.
Well, and I mean, the same people who see Infinity War might not be the same people who would want to see that movie either. Right. Because I don't think people always think about this, but that is a comic book, like, superhero movie. And not everybody is into superhero movies. No. I mean, for a long time, I have been. But, gosh, I'm getting really burnt out on them.
I think a lot of people are,
But, I was never actually a Marvel Comics fan either. I was DC girl, Right. Mostly just Batman, too, at that. So... yeah. Batman and Batman-related characters.
All the Batmans.
But, all the Batmans. So it's just kind of...
Well, I think it works...
You don't be surprised if people don't want to see a Marvel movie, because like a lot of people don't like superhero movies.
Well, it also...
I'm kind of curious about it, but at the same time, they have a lot of characters in that movie. And I could see it really easily going south real fast.
It could. So. I do at least have faith in the people that they have behind this. They have the Russo brothers, and they've put and they've done some of the.
And they got kicked off of Solo, which looks bad, like real bad.
No. That was the
Oh, those are the other two guys.
Yeah, those were the Cloud Chance Meatballs guys. So.
See, you're better at keeping track of this than I am. Yeah, but that's your job, not mine. So.
Get them a. But the Russo brothers have done Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Captain America: Civil War.
I think I liked those.
Those are honestly some of like the best Marvel films of all, like these 18 films.
I think Civil War felt more like an Avengers movie, though.
Yeah.
So
that's what everyone's saying. It's like this feels a lot more like Avengers than Age of Ultron did. So.
But the thing is, though, they've taken so long with that Thanos shit. I'm not sure I care anymore.
Well, I'll have to see. I have to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that one's probably, regardless, going to be a rental for me, just because I'm tired of sitting in a theater for 3 hours to find out, you know, sometime in the first hour that it's not really for me and I hate it. Or not hate it, but I'm just bored.
Yeah.
I need something to do with my hands while I watch movies.
Well, it'll remain to be seen, you know, how much it's accepted after that. Because, like, there's no question it's going to make $200 million the opening weekend. It's just a matter of, like, you know, how much buzz is there after that to get people to come back and see it.
You made it a bunch of dads. I really like your name.
Hey, bunch of dads.
I just, that's a fantastic name. A bunch of dads.
We're just talking about the summer movie scene and about Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
And how, like, it's gonna make a lot of money its first weekend, but it depends how much audiences are accepting of it to keep going back for it. Because it's happened before, like it happened with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think they need to give things more time apart. I think they're burning everybody out on comic book movies.
Yeah, they're trying to.
You know, I've loved comic book movies for years, but gosh, it's too much for me now. I haven't seen the last few, though. I didn't see Thor, Ragnarok, or Black Panther. I didn't bother watching the DC ones because they already lost me after Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, so...
I'm kind of interested in...
don't get me started on Star Wars. I refuse to see The Last Jedi after Mark told me what happened in it. I'm like, oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. No, they're not getting my money. No.
So,
never again. I'm getting... maybe it's Disney's fault. I don't know. Screw them.
Interesting about...
2 a year now. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's too much. They need to pace things out. And they need to do a better fucking job.
Well, I think it's about 1 a year, isn't it?
No, there's 2 for Star Wars. For
Star Wars? No.
Well,
there's only 1 a year.
Okay, but they're pretty close together, and you've got to admit that.
They're very close right now. Yeah. well, they've been consistently coming out over like Christmases. So.
What about the Marvel movies? That's 2 a year, isn't it?
3 a year at this point.
3 a year? Yeah. See, there you go. But how many altogether Disney movies a year now?
You're probably looking at something like maybe 10, 12 at least, around there. Probably more.
A bunch of dads says they think they're doing a summer and a winter one now. Yeah, no, I know I have...
That was the theory, yeah.
I have a couple of friends who are so into Disney. But I just so don't get it.
If it's not for you, then it's not for you, you know?
I guess. I just feel like they're destroying everything they touch at this point. So, but then I've been mad at Disney since they made Hercules. Because while I liked the movie, I'm like, where do you think you're going making Hera Hercules' mother? Do you even know Greek mythology at all? Come on.
I wanted to make I was almost tempted to make a joke about this film coming out on May 18th. It's called Book Club.
Yeah.
And it's about a bunch of...
Is it a horror movie?
No.
Because that feels like a good name for a horror movie for some reason to me.
Well, here's the thing, because like it stars a bunch of like... It stars 4 It stars 4 like older women.
And they have an orgy?
Not that I know of in the trailer. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm just throwing stuff out there that seems interesting to me.
I'll have to check the MPA rating.
In a funny kind of way.
But I just...
Not like an on-screen one, just like a comedic one.
But I just threw like a joke out there when the...
Is that a thing? Okay. Is that too far for you? Yeah, I know I'm potentially screwing with you right now.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Well, I was just going to make the joke that, you know, when I saw the posters, like, I don't know how I feel about the American adaptation of Doki Doki Literature Club, you know. I think they got Monica wrong.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So whenever you see that...
They made him a little old.
They made him a little older,
I think. They made the Dokis
a
little old.
So
Speaking of Dokis, I saw for at least one of the characters, I saw at least 3 sets of them at Anime Detour this past weekend. Yeah. Yes.
So I don't know. That's more counter programming though, but it's obviously going to get dwarfed by Deadpool 2. That's going to come out on May 18th as well.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about that. I think it's going to be good, but I don't want to set myself up to be very disappointed. Because
Right.
a lot of movies have been disappointing me lately. Like, most of them. So.
Well, what I'm looking forward to...
My expectations, they're too high.
Well, what I'm looking forward to most is the fact that they're going to bring cable into the mix.
Yeah.
And, you know, for those...
Time traveling cable.
Yeah, time travel. It's cable in a nutshell. But,
yeah.
But if anyone's read the comics, they know that, you know, Deadpool and Cable, you know, they have such great chemistry together. Because he's kind of like the straight man who tries to keep everything on track, and Deadpool is just the nutty goof. Because honestly, that was my problem with the first Deadpool movie, is that anytime he's just talking to like himself or talking to the camera, I thought it got a little old. But anytime he's talking to like Nega and Colossus, it was like comedy gold.
I liked the movie, but it didn't seem like something I was gonna want to rewatch. The first Deadpool.
Probably not, yeah, because...
Although, didn't I see it twice? I think I might have seen... Or you saw it twice, maybe.
I did rewatch it at one point for another review I was writing.
I don't know, I just feel like...
But yeah, I watched it once in like the theater.
No, I only saw it once. I only saw it once with you in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I liked it.
Yeah, good Valentine movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Missing that opportunity. So then, like, obviously after that, then we got May 25th. We're gonna get the Solo: A Star Wars Story. That'll be remain to be seen, because you mentioned they were bunching
Movies
up.
that don't need to be made. Got it.
You mentioned they were like bunching up with like Infinity War, yeah, because then we're gonna get more spillover. Because this has already happened. It happened with Black Panther, because Black Panther came out and just shattered every record. It was #1 for the weekend, and then it got to the point where Disney's next film, A Wrinkle in Time, came out the same weekend. It's like, oh no, we didn't
to be
make
fair,
that much.
A Wrinkle in Time looked like shit.
That's true.
So,
It actually did.
Oprah couldn't save it.
No, Oprah's not that much of a control. Even though she's
not that magical.
Even though she seems like the huge giant that can control the universe in the film.
She just can't make people like things that are shit.
It didn't work.
Unless she gives them a car. You get a car, and you get a
She
car.
makes
There's
cars.
too many of you. There's too many of you.
She makes it rain from the skies. Cars.
Ouch.
So after that, you know, obviously there's going to be another Dead Zone in June where they're going to try to force some more stuff through. I'm kind of interested in this other film. It's called Action Point. And I think it's a scripted comedy by Johnny Knoxville.
Okay.
So I think it's still under kind of like the Jackass kind of brand, with like kind of the films they want to do. I think it's kind of more in the vein of what they did with Bad Grandpa.
You know the funny thing about Jackass is, like, Steve-O's been on Joe Rogan, and from what it sounds like, he like barely got paid for any of that shit.
Yeah.
And he's like killing himself.
He's killing himself. He's still alive doing this. So that has potential to maybe get a little bit of money if, you know, gets enough the audience between there. Let's see. The week after that, we got June 8th. We have Ocean's 8 coming out.
I haven't seen any of the other Ocean's movies, so count me out.
Well, I think the Oceans, at least for like the last iteration of like that went up to like Ocean's 13, I think kind of ran their course. It's like, okay, like, you know, they've taken the heist film as, you know, kind of as ridiculous as they can get at this point. I mean, they had like the giant drill that had to go into like the vaults and all that. So, you know, anything that they could do to try to improve Ocean's 8, I said go for it. I mean, the Ocean's 11 films have never been like a golden brand or stuff like that. I mean, obviously when they got to 13, it's like they were trying anything. So
I thought that they were just a group of sexy men in the movie. Because wasn't it like George Clooney and maybe Brad Pitt? I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was
sexy male actors in the movie.
There was quite a few sexy guys in it, man. That's the way to go.
Wait, is Ocean's 8 the one where they switched it over to women?
Yeah.
Because I heard the rumor that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be women. Yeah.
Okay. And at least the sexy women?
They might.
If they're going to have the... You know, if Ocean's 11, like, for me, it's just like, oh, it's just, you know, sexy men, the movie. It's just sexy women, the movie.
Well, I kind of dig who they...
Sexy women rob a bank, the movie.
Could work. Well, I kind of dig the director they got. They got Gary Ross, who directed Pleasantville, and he wrote Big. So he's kind of good at writing kind of knowing comedies like that.
What has he done lately?
Because
Because
Pleasantville were
a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Charlize Theron's in it. So it'll at least have like a big cast.
I can't remember what Charlize Theron looks like. I'm picturing her in Monster.
But like Monster's the most like divergent version of her.
I don't remember what she looks like. Probably attractive.
I would say Mad Max Fury Road, but in that she's got the shaved head and all the crap on her face too.
What have I seen her in where she's not like covered in stuff?
Was it? Oh shoot, it wasn't. No, I thought I had tip of my tongue. The most recent thing I can remember her from was Atomic Blonde.
Didn't see that, but I think I saw the trailers. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah. We got a host.
Thank you, King Triton.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thank you for the host. I can see. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in Ocean's 8. It's throwing it out there with what they can do with the material. So I'm curious to see what happens. Obviously, June 15th, it's going to be Incredibles 2. It's got to be Incredibles 2. You know how many...
I know you've been waiting for that movie for a long time.
Well, I've been waiting for it, but I've been patient because if it does come back, I want it to come back with a purpose.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brad Bird came back with some new ideas that he wanted to bring to it. I didn't just want them to just barrel ahead into the next sequel and just try to figure it out from there, which Pixar has done a few times. So, so yeah, it's been over a decade waiting for this film.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of looking forward to it. What I like for what I've seen from the trailers, I like that they're going to focus a little bit more on the family dynamic and play that up a lot more. So I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of people are because it's their favorite Pixar film. So.
I saw a promotional picture done kind of similarly to that one they had of the family portrait where they looked like they were on vacation.
Yeah.
So this one they had tan lines around where their masks would be.
Yeah. That's pretty good. And like I said, at least the trailers reveal just enough of the story, but it feels like there's so much they're leaving out, which I love. So like you get the general premise of what's going to happen, but not exactly how it's going to play out. And at least from what I've seen from the trailers, there's going to be a lot more Edna. So.
Edna mode.
Edna mode.
People just love Edna apparently.
They had like a whole that whole featurette they did on her. Where everyone talks about her like a real modeling agent. Yeah,
family is good. Oh, I'm responding to a bunch of dads.
Oh yeah, that was the key of what made The Incredibles work so well is because it's superhero action, but it focuses very much on how you view family and how the chaos of it and well especially like they flat out just kind of personify most of the kids there, like the shy teenage girl who disappears, the hyperactive kid who can't stop,
the husband going through a midlife crisis,
Elastigirl, woman who has to stretch to do all these things for her family. So
he couldn't just buy a motorcycle, whatever.
No,
that's what my dad did. He bought a motorcycle.
Well, no, didn't he buy like that weird kind of like DeLorean type car in the film?
Oh, he did. Yeah.
So he did that. So that was his cover. It's like it was a midlife crisis. I'm not fighting robots.
Just having a midlife crisis.
I'm not going in the burning buildings. What are you talking about?
I wonder if my dad will admit that buying that motorcycle was his midlife crisis.
I think...
I should ask him about that.
I think partially some of the ideas for The Incredibles came from Brad Bird in the 80s. He did a test for doing a 2D animated movie version of The Spirit, which looked really good, but I don't think like Disney or anyone else was up for it because they thought like, oh, people really don't want an animated superhero movie. Yeah, no one wants that. And then he made The Incredibles.
I'm sorry, I keep looking at you and thinking, I wonder what Mark's going to do for his midlife crisis. You don't seem like the motorcycle type, and you're not into cars either.
I'll buy a robot.
You should have to buy you should buy like a new car at some point, but you're not like the convertible, the hot rod, or anything like that type.
I'm gonna buy a dinosaur because that's our next movie. June 22nd, they're gonna have Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Okay.
I'm kind of digging it. I know a lot of people were on the fence about Jurassic World. I dug it for what it was. You know, we're talking about giant monster stuff with Rampage. And Jurassic World is very much in the same ballpark of, you know, the campiness and the silliness of it all. And it's mostly, you know, it's going to play up the nostalgia factor because they got Jeff Goldblum back.
I love giant robots. Dig.
Gotta do Mega 6 alive. We gotta do it. But yeah, like Jeff Goldblum pops up and he does, at least in the trailers, they show him muttering the line that we all wanted to hear him say, life finds a way. So.
You know, I saw a clip of Jeff Goldblum doing a reading of Steamed Hams. It's pretty funny. As Skinner.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a regional dialect. I don't know if you might have heard of it. I can't. Jeff Goldblum. Sorry, I will not attempt to do that again. This one is not actually directed by Colin Trevorrow. It's written by him, but apparently he's off doing other stuff. He was supposed to be doing Star Wars Episode 9, but that didn't pan out. This one is directed by J.A. Bayona, who has been a director on The Orphanage.
That movie is creepy.
Yeah.
It gave me nightmares.
Well, see, that movie's creepy. And then the last thing he directed was A Monster Calls, which was kind of, you know, about like a children's fantasy. Mm-hmm. So you have him kind of doing like the creepiness and the children's fantasy, which works well for Jurassic World, you know, because it's about, you know, like kind of like, you know, the kid fantasy of monsters, and then the
F-Bomb Nation is rating with a party of 12.
Holy crap! Yeah, F-Bomb Nation.
Whoa.
Well, welcome everybody. We're talking about summer movies for 2018.
Wow.
And there we go. We got the spams already.
Nice.
There we go. Everyone filing, talking about movies of the summer that we're looking forward to. So yeah, we're talking about Jurassic World. Looking forward to it. It's probably going to be goofy as shit, but I love goofy as shit. So I'm hoping that it won't be like Rampage. We're just going to be standard popcorn entertainment.
Thanks, Slim.
Okay.
Thanks for the cheer.
Thanks, Slim. I'll buy that for $1. Yeah, we got more crazy movie quotes for bit stuff down there, so check them out if you haven't. No, I should probably spam it.
Woo!
And we got followers up the wazoo. We got crazy crap going up the wazoo. Let me know if you're looking forward to Jurassic World. Sending us bombs here. So yeah, Jurassic World, there's not much more to say about that. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of people have been complaining about the trailer because there's a scene where they're all running from a volcano. Ooh. And they're not sure, like, how does that work? I don't care. It's a volcano. There's dinosaurs running amok. It'll be insane. I love it. Well, especially because, like, I mean, you got to understand, these are for, like, you know, kids are going to dig this the most.
Yeah. Are you going to take our kid?
Maybe. I'll see. Because you remember when we were going to see Spy, we were in an elevator
with the kid,
with this 8-year-old kid wearing glasses, just going like, "Oh, I'm going to see Jurassic World for the second time," and it's so great that there's a scene where the genetic dinosaur attacks the T-Rex and the Velociraptors team up and they kill the genetic T-Rex. Yeah, like, oh cute. God, that kid is me when I was 8 when Jurassic Park came out. Jurassic Park 3?
Jones is asking about Jurassic Park 3.
I'm kind of on the fence with it. At the time, I thought it was junk. Because, you know, we had just come out of, like, The Lost World. There are parts of it that work. I think if you go back to it, you'd be surprised how much of that film kind of works on a popcorn level. And you got to keep in mind, on a popcorn level, because, again, like, you know, you go back and watch the original, it's kind of... It's suspenseful, but it's kind of dorky. You know, it's kind of popcorn, straight up.
Confession time. I've only seen the first Jurassic Park.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. A lot of people have mixed feelings about him. There are again, like, even with The Lost World, I mean, I don't like how it's set up, but honestly, that third act where you have the T-Rex running around the city, that kind of made the film for me.
Yeah. Sequels just never live up to the first one. Maybe the exception would be I liked the Back to the Future sequels, and I feel like there's something else I like the sequels.
There's a few.
I liked the original trilogy of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But nothing after that. It's all bad after
You didn't like the Clone Wars?
All downhill from there.
It's all downhill. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with this. Then you got June 29th, a film that I'm kind of looking forward to, even though, again, like Jurassic World, the director's not returning. We have Sicario, Day of Soldado, which Sicario I really dug. It's a Denis Villeneuve film that kind of portrays the drug trade as being very gritty, very dark, and very visual.
That's right. Captain America and Terminator 2. Those were good sequels.
There you
Thank
go.
you for bringing that up, Rutu.
And
I didn't like Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry.
Possibly
it was a little dull for me in the middle there.
Possibly overrated, but I kind of like Godfather 2 more than Part 1. So
I can't remember much of it. I know I saw it, but I don't remember much of it.
Part 2 is a lot of backstory stuff in Italy mostly. And then kind of the continuation of the Corleones from the last film. So
yeah,
it's really good. I mean, everyone's like, oh, sequels can't match. There's tons of sequels that you could mention here.
Slim's complimenting your lovely voice.
Good. It's holding up better than it did at the convention. I'll say.
Oh, really? I didn't notice any problems at the convention, but I didn't go to all your panels.
Well, the first day,
I listened to you talk all
the first day I got a sore throat, so you could kind of hear losing my voice then. But
you did have a lot of panels that day.
But that was only the first two.
That was nuts.
It went nuts.
And you weren't even the only one talking in the
No, it wasn't. But Sicario, it's not directed by Denis Villeneuve, but you do have Benicio del Toro returning for the Soldado character. And he was, honestly, everyone says, yeah, he's the best part. Because he's a ruthless killer who he's supposed to be a good guy, but he's kind of an anti-hero working outside the law and doing some really shady shit on the side.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Sicario, Day of Soldado.
I don't know what that is.
It's a drug trade. It's a movie about the drug trade and
what kind of movies I don't watch, guys.
Yeah. but I'm kind of interested to see where they go with this. Even though Denis Villeneuve isn't back on it, but there's that great scene in the trailer where he comes up to a guy on the street and just guns him down with his pistol and kind of does like not quite like a fanning thing, but where you kind of like put your finger on like the trigger and try to get it as fast as you can to get as many shots off. It's amazing.
I think I liked Alien better than Aliens.
Aliens better than Alien?
Yeah, Rurutu's just bringing out more sequels.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because apparently Rurutu really likes sequels.
Well, you mentioned like, oh, the sequels tend to fall apart, and then everyone comes with the sequels.
Not all of them.
No,
as a rule. It's just, generally speaking, there's a lot of sequels to things that are just trash.
If they're rushed. Yeah. If they're rushed, then that really can show.
If they're a cash grab,
yeah,
it's obvious.
Because Aliens is really great, but there's a lot of it came out like 7 years after the first film, so it had a lot of time. And like I said, if they can find something different, because Aliens is much different from Alien.
And like I said, I liked Jumanji 2 a lot as well. But
that's a million times better.
Consider the time between the first Jumanji and the second one.
Yeah, so you give it time, you can find some, but
if you give it time and you do it right.
Right.
Which a lot of people do it wrong.
Yeah.
And they don't respect what it stemmed from.
So I think time is the biggest factor.
I can't remember the Scream movies. I watched those so long ago.
I vaguely remember 3 a little bit. I remember I kind of
remember the first movie, and that's about it.
Well, I remember the first movie vividly because it's straight up like slasher satire.
It's just, how long ago I saw that movie?
You don't remember the rules?
Over a decade ago.
Rule number 1: don't say you'll go somewhere and be right back, because you won't be back.
There's a Spaceballs 2? Oh, will be the best sequel. Will it be made?
I don't know, man.
He's lit. I mean,
if Mel Brooks makes it,
Mel Brooks is pretty old now. I think they made the cartoon show and they stopped after that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna make it the sequel.
And honestly, I kind of think Brooks has ran his course. I mean, the last kind of big film that he made that most people remember was Robin Hood Men in Tights, and that wasn't that good.
If you listen to interviews with him and stuff, he thinks comedy is dead. He doesn't think he can get away with the things he used to get away with. His humor, he thinks his brand of humor is over because of how people have gotten lately, the current political climate,
Yeah.
So at least that's the impression I've gotten, So think about the kind of jokes that are in Mel Brooks's movies.
Yeah.
You know?
They're they're very much like of the time, and they are very, very controversial. He's done like a he's done a Nazi music video. Consider that.
Yeah, but also consider.
But it's satire. Yeah, there was controversial satire at the time.
Larry David, the new Mel Brooks. I don't think I can agree with that. I'm sorry. I don't think I can agree with that.
Not quite. I don't think Larry David's as daring. I think he tries a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'll give him that. But I don't know if he's quite on that kind of like comfy level as Mel Brooks is.
I liked his Bernie Sanders impersonation.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I love watching Larry David. He's hilarious to watch. The stuff he writes is hilarious.
I like the theme song to his show.
Bum, bum. So let's see. Moving on to July 4th. Now, for July 4th, we got to find a, it was usually like maybe like a Will Smith film or generally like a patriotic film. And here we do got a patriotic film. We got the First Purge.
That's not patriotic.
No, but they promote it as kind of like being a kind of like a patriotism satire type deal.
That's stupid. No. That's postmodern bullshit right there.
Yeah. Let's see.
Independence Day, whatever number they're on, starring Will Smith.
What was the last one? Oh, Resurgence. Oh, yeah, they're going to take the fight to them. I hate when they do that.
I never got into the Purge and that stuff, but, I don't like those kind of movies. I don't like torture porn or just senseless killing movies. I
kind of dug the first Purge, but that's mostly because of, like, the concept of it. And then after that, they kind of went a little too wild directions with it, where they kind of tried to add too much more to it.
That was filmed where you live in Buffalo? Is that Buffalo, New York?
Oh,
It's filmed where you live in Buffalo.
Ah, okay. Well, like I'm kind of interested in this kind of prequel film.
You see the Purge in the Watchmen universe, but then it will contain a giant squid. It'll make everybody go crazy.
So it's gonna be directed by Shyamalan. Yeah.
Plot twist.
It was squids the whole time.
Yes, Cabin in the Woods was awesome. I love Cabin in the Woods.
That's the ultimate horror satire right there, man.
That was great. I like horror satire movies, but it depends on how they're done.
Yeah. Well, the Purge might be overshadowed because it's coming on July 4th. It's on a Wednesday. July 6th, just 2 days later, it's gonna go up against Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it's probably going to get crushed by Ant-Man.
I didn't know they were making an Ant-Man and Wasp movie.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to it. It looks like they're playing it up more comic booky than the other films. Like it feels like
more sequels.
Well, what did you think of Ant-Man?
It was all right.
Was it all right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, the more I think about it, the more I really like that film more for just kind of being a with the kind of like classic superheroisms of it. Where you just kind of like, building up the character, he's got to work towards it, and he just ends up becoming this ridiculous superhero that's to shrink himself down and lead ants into battle. And
every time the cat meows, I just feel compelled to meow back at her in the same form.
So now you got the Wasp in there. You got some new villains. The trailer I saw looks hilarious. They do a lot more of that, enlarging stuff and throwing them at people. So
okay, that could be funny.
Yeah,
he was funny in Civil War.
Yeah, and you got all the returning cast members here, all back again. You got Michael Douglas, you got Paul Rudd. That's frankly all I need for an Ant-Man movie, man. Their chemistry is hilarious. Mm-hmm. They have they have that great scene in the trailer where they're trying to throw stuff at like the enemy and like enlarge it. So like they grab they grab stuff from a purse. At one point, they grab like a Hello Kitty Pez dispenser, just blow it up and throw it at them.
Feels like a Deadpool reference.
Yeah, it might be. We'll have to see. You don't know.
Doesn't he have a great love of Hello Kitty?
That's true.
I saw a whole commercial thing where he was dressed in a pink suit for booby cancer.
Mm. It'll be interesting.
We all know booby cancer is a thing now.
To see where this falls between like an Infinity War, to see what route they go with it. So I don't know. Curious to see where it goes.
He did the breast cancer awareness thing for this one, but he did breast and ball cancer awareness for the last one too, didn't he?
I think so.
Gosh,
Maybe.
He really wants people to feel their genitals. Well, breasts aren't genitals.
Look who we're talking to. It's Deadpool.
Breasts aren't genitals, but
no. In case you're wondering.
Well, it's just the things that cause breast cancer and things that cause prostate cancer, I think, are similar or something like that. So probably has something to do with it.
Yeah.
The new Cabin in the Woods? What new Cabin in the Woods?
New Cabin in the Woods? What are they gonna do?
Are they gonna remake a movie that just came out like a few years ago? Wait, no, don't tell me when it came out. Don't tell me. Don't, no.
No, I won't.
Don't do that to me.
I won't do it. I won't do it. No. I do that to piss her off.
Likes to make me feel old.
Yeah, I won't make you feel old tonight.
Because he feels old.
I'll let you look it up on your own and then scream. Or that's about The Quiet Place? The Quiet Place is awesome. It is.
Hey, even our friend who doesn't really like horror movies saw it and liked it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got to be good. So I think I'll probably give it a shot. Because if he can sit through it, then I can. That particular friend. So
yeah, our friend
we're
is
in the same lane as far as horror movies go. So.
Yeah, our friend is terrified of horror films. Like we took him to Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, I was with you when you guys saw that, right?
No, that was a different screening.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, but then you took me and I behaved the same way. That's why that comparison is there, right?
Yeah. So but and even he went out to go see A Quiet Place. But I gotta warn you though, and I put this in my reviews as like a warning. Make sure you see it with the right crowd, more or less, because there's a lot of like dead space in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Where it relies on a lot of quiet. So if there's like a lot of popcorn bags rustling or people talking, you're gonna hear everything.
I think he said some idiot brought a baby to A Quiet Place.
Yeah, our friend said he did. Yeah.
And I think.
Look, it's PG-13, but it's not that kind of PG-13, folks, right?
Don't bring your babies to movies.
No.
I don't care what movie you're seeing. I don't even care if it's kids' movie. Don't bring your baby.
Yeah.
Don't bring your baby.
No,
don't bring your baby.
I think Gene Siskel had
Get a sitter.
Gene Siskel had a running ad in a paper where he would give $50 to someone who would get an usher to throw out a mother and her baby from like a PG-13 screening.
Yeah.
And he said to pay it once, I think.
And I know your mom had told me that when you were an infant, she took you to a movie, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I think I said that to her face. What is wrong with you? Don't take your baby to a movie.
She wanted to instill my movie loving early, so she took me to the money pit.
And yeah, you say that a lot of phones went off. What I hate is people usually turn their phones off. But depending on, so I've been in movies where there's a bunch of annoying teenagers talking a lot.
Yeah.
And then they're usually on their stupid phones the whole time.
Yeah.
But see, here's the glorious part of when we go to screeners. People aren't on their phones because they'll get kicked out.
Yeah, usually. I was lucky enough at the Quiet Place screening because we did have they did have people shuffling late, with all their food. Yeah. But once they got in there, they got settled and everyone was just on the edge of their seat. And that's the reason to see this in the theater. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm not going to see it in the theater. No, you got to see it in the theater because there's moments when they focus on the deaf girl and the soundtrack completely drops out, and then you see like the monster behind her. And with it completely silent, you can hear like everyone's like gasping and gripping of their seats at that point. It's like, oh, that's great. I love it.
It just occurred to me, maybe this is my problem when I go to see movies. When I am at home, there is not like 10 minutes that go by without me getting interrupted.
Yeah.
Without the dog wanting to go out, the cat just randomly yelling at me because, I don't know, we have a weird cat.
There's distractions.
And, the kid bugging me. Even if I am home alone, there's the animals.
Yeah.
And I have to get up and do things and, among other things that seem to have come with age with me, too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm wondering if that's why I have a hard time in the theater. I'm not used to sitting still without interruption for 3 hours.
Possibly. Yeah. Well, if it's 3 hours. I mean...
Well, 2 hours even. That's still more time. How things are at home for me. I don't have a minute to relax if you two are home.
Right.
I don't have a minute to relax even really with the dog or the cat around. So... Maybe that's why I'm having problems.
Scene was amazing with the yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those films that I'm gonna say, like, on the level of like Annihilation, where you need to see this in the theater.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're gonna like, I guarantee everyone who missed Annihilation, you're gonna watch this at home. You're gonna get to that third act, and you're gonna be like, why the hell did I not see this in the theater?
I feel like another reviewer I was watching, maybe Red Letter Media, even said that.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't like Natalie Portman's performance. But they liked they said about other things in the movies. It's like, this is what everybody's been saying they wanted and no one's going.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Alex Garland had to fight to get this film in because they wanted to edit it down and push it away because they thought, that audiences would be too stupid to see it.
Too stupid. That's nice. That sounds like something DC said about like one of the Batman movies or something.
I think they might have put it more elegant and say like, oh, it's too sophisticated for most audiences.
Yeah.
Which prove them wrong. Go see like actual good science fiction because Alex Garland is making the best. Like, he made like Ex Machina before this.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Which is amazingly good, and he's proved that he's not a one-trick pony now. If he did that well with Annihilation, I cannot wait to see what he does. He's not going to be like Neil Blomkamp, where he's going to do the same thing. He's going to find new and weird places to take science fiction. So, him and Denis Villeneuve. Looking forward to both of them. So July 13th, this is kind of going to be where there might be a little bit of a standoff here.
Octavia Memories says, "Hello, Senpai. It's been quite some time."
Senpai. Do I know you? I recognize the name. I think so.
Octavia sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think I recognize the name. Well, good evening, sir. Or madam.
Octavia seems like a female name. I could be wrong.
Probably. So
correct me if I'm wrong.
On July 13th, we've got a square-off between Skyscraper and Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation.
I know which one I'm seeing.
None.
About half a dozen times. Not in theaters, though.
Right.
And not because I want to. I'll just come out of the bedroom like on a Saturday morning, and Hotel Transylvania 3 will be there, and I'll be like, "What, again?"
Yeah. I like how they're not even like hiding the fact, like, yeah, just call it Summer Vacation. They're on a cruise now, whatever. It's the summer film for a film that usually came out in like it used to come out like fall, so obviously they got something going. But it's Sony going. I am looking for the fact that it's kind of Sony going back. It's Sony going back to the well, but it's a well that's kind of worked. And, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're coming back from the Emoji Movie. They need something.
Sony animation. I'm not sure I give a crap about this movie. Octavia says she used to come a lot, and I was painting clouds. Wait, was that?
Oh, it was on last night on your
Was
stream.
that last night?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, I didn't see the chats for those because I was painting, so.
We got Sydney from Scream is in Skyscraper. Oh, all right. Yeah, the Skyscraper. That was the film I was talking to you about that I initially confused for Rampage because it's Dwayne Johnson in that same shirt that he had in Rampage.
I was doing clouds last night too. Yeah. Oh man, if I was doing clouds a different time, then that was quite some time ago.
I think you were. I honestly, it's a close call, but I think Skyscraper might take it. But it looks pretty even for that weekend.
I didn't mean that kind of cum.
Jesus Christ. Phrasing. So then we have July 20th. We've got, and here's another odd one. We've got the Equalizer 2, which I'm not too sure I feel about. I was kind of on the fence with the Equalizer. I mean, I like seeing Denzel Washington in an action film where he kind of gets to play the bloody hero. So it could work out. We'll see how sequels goes. But it's going up against Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Oh, look, 2 movies I'm not gonna see!
Exclamation point.
I saw the first Mamma Mia. It was alright. I just have no desire for a sequel.
No interest
in
Mamma Mia.
How much ABBA songs can you listen to?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, are they just gonna go through like their entire ABBA songs?
And also, Mamma Mia was adapted from a play,
right?
Whereas this is just being pulled out of thin air, I assume. So
I guess, yeah. More money, you know.
sequels.
More sequels.
See, these are the kind of sequels I hate. Those are cash grab sequels.
It's clear. I mean, like Mamma Mia made a ridiculous amount of money, so obviously they're gonna go back to the well. I'm not sure how much it'll make though. They go there.
We were an affiliate even a month ago, so that was like,
yeah. We
just got this.
Yeah, just gotta be an affiliate. I just got the emote approved today too. So.
Oh, cool. What's it look like?
It's Snake, kind of drawn like an anime character.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's by artist Awkward Bun here on Twitch. She does a really good job. So.
What an interesting name.
Yeah. So if you want crazy little emotes like that, you contact her. July 27th.
Kitty.
We got more square offs here. We got Mission.
Oh wait, emote bar.
We got Mission Impossible Fallout, which kind of looking forward to. I mean, most Mission Impossible films have been. Although I think the last one kind of plateaued because it ran out of stuff for everyone else to do and just became the Tom Cruise, how can I kill myself in 2 hours? Which he usually does in all these films. But it was hard to find the rest of the characters stuff from them to do because you want to see them do more stuff. I mean, like Simon Pegg is fun to watch as the hacker guy kind of trying to, bumble his way and go nuts through most of the films. So.
I'm sorry, I lost track of what we were talking about. For some reason, I just started thinking about French toast. I don't know why.
Talking about Mission Impossible.
Out of my mind, apparently.
Tom Cruise trying to kill himself in movies.
Oh, see, I don't watch Mission Impossible. That must be why I started thinking about food.
Yeah. They're only they're worth watching for the stunts, which I'm kind of curious because Cruise is getting up there in age, and I don't know how. I know he's pretty much at this point like the American Jackie Chan.
How old is he?
He's got to be like in his like 50s, upper 50s, around there.
Maybe
Probably
Scientology makes you do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like action movies that much. Oh, yeah, she's gonna. Perhaps this will jog the memory. Memory.
Oh my god! And you wrote a paragraph.
Bill me Oh, right. You wrote that nice story we read.
Now you have that memory. Yeah.
Yes.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
So.
When is more?
So we got more Mission Impossible going up against the Teen Titans Go to the
53.
Movies.
Oh, Tom Cruise is 53.
It's 53. Okay, yeah. Because honestly, outside of the Mission Impossible films, like he's done other films where he's done stunts, but they're not as impressive. They seem like they're mostly CGI or they're limited in what he can do. So I'm curious, like, because he always throws himself in Mission Impossible films, so we'll see what can happen. So.
I'm curious, Octavia. Very curious.
Keep working it, man. Keep writing.
I knew your name sounded familiar. Got it connected in my head. Okay.
But I'm kind of torn on this weekend, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Teen Titans, yeah, I'm really excited for that one.
Oh, Octavia says Teen Titans Go is absolute trash.
I know people that hate the Teen Titans Go.
There's some things about it I think are all right. I mean, there are worse things on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
But apparently that's like pretty much all that's on Cartoon Network right now, so maybe not.
But if the trailers are anything to go by, it looks like they're going to go the Lego Batman route.
Yeah, I like Lego Batman.
Where they're very self-referential. They know what's going on in DC. They know that their movies are not doing so well.
The last clip I saw from Teen Titans Go was them watching the original Teen Titans.
The original Teen Titans.
The older, not the original, the older Teen Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Like the one before this one, because there's been older Teen Titans.
Yeah. There's the...
I stole your joke. What was your joke? What joke did I tell a joke? I don't know.
I'll tell a joke on another stream. Do you mean the Filmation Teen Titans that you're thinking about?
No.
You
the
mean...
one that came right before the Teen Titans Go.
Oh yeah.
They were watching a clip from their own show and be like, look how much better we look! Why did they cancel this?
Yeah, they're very self-aware.
Is the web series on Twitch? I don't know.
Yeah, they're very much self-referential here, which
I'm not on my own account right now.
Which, especially for DC Comics, that's kind of the route you want them to take. Because like everyone pretty much agreed that Lego Batman is probably the best DC film that we've had in a while, just because like they're willing to say, yeah, we made some mistakes along the way, And yeah, Batman is pretty silly. He's done the silly crap before. And I like the trailer is trying to make that point abundantly clear. Like they made it happen with the that opening bit in the trailer where they're all dressed up as Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman's the only critically acclaimed film that made the most money. So they're just like, yeah, Wonder Woman, and then they make that joke at the end. So if Aquaman's gonna get a movie, then anyone can.
Okay.
So.
Sorry, I got distracted.
What are you looking at?
I was looking at the chat, and then I was trying to find...
find his stuff?
Yeah, so that I could it on my own thing.
Okay.
But... on my own account.
Alright, well, we'll look at it.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I wasn't really saying that Teen Titans thing as a joke, but okay. It is funny, I guess.
Yeah,
but a lot of people have said that a whole lot of places, just so you know.
Right. Yeah, I've heard it a few times. August 3rd is kind of going to be a bloodbath, at least from like the wide releases they got. There are 5 films coming out on August 3rd. There's this weird little sci-fi thriller I don't know much about. It's called The Darkest Minds, but it stars Mandy Moore. You've got Disney.
Mandy Moore still acts?
Oh yeah. Mandy Moore occasionally, every now and then, pops up.
What's the last thing she's been in?
Oh, I think it was last year. What was it? Gosh, I took my tongue.
Okay, I'll look it up.
She's been in something. She'll pop up. So that's coming out. You got Disney's Christopher Robin. Which you're gonna say like
made a movie of that.
Yeah, it's gonna say like, wait a minute, didn't they just make a film of that? Yeah, but this is kind of, it's more or less like the sequel. Where, like, Christopher Robin's older, and he, apparently, if the trailers are anything to go by, he has, like, hallucinations of poo and the 100 Acre Woods.
For a minute,
so
when
I'm
you
not
said poo, I thought you meant something else. Let's see, she's going to do a voice in Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, I know that she's been in that.
The Darkest Minds. She was in a TV show called This Is Us.
Yep.
She was in Drunk History.
Mentioned that in Maurice's.
She's in the Tangled series.
So kind of bobbing up now and then.
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
So she's been around.
Not here. Okay.
She's active, to say the least.
I guess she's been mostly doing TV though and Disney stuff. Yeah. Because she's Rapunzel. So.
Yeah. So that's so those are kind of like the 2 biggest films, but then you also got Mile 22, which is another kind of like patriotic film by Peter Berg, who has directed stuff like Patriots Day and Deepwater Horizon, so it shouldn't come as any surprise that, yes, Mark Wahlberg is playing the lead again. So that's...
Marky Mark!
Marky Mark getting them patriotic roles, man.
Funky Bunch. He's come a long way since that crappy movie he made.
He's come along since the Funky Bunch. He's still doing crappy movies, kind of. So.
Why not? Someone else has it open.
Uh-oh.
You think it... Well, how is that... How does that work? What do you mean someone has it open?
Someone else is probably looking at it, you know.
But how would that... Oh, I can't go into anything of mine on your stuff. But...
So let's see. Darkest Minds, Christopher Robin, Mile 22. Searching, which I think is a cyber thriller. I haven't seen
don't have it open.
Too much of it. And then The Spy Who Dumped Me. It's kind of like a action comedy type revenge film starring Mila Kunis. So all 5 of those are going to be releasing at the same time on August 3rd. I have no clue. It probably might be Christopher Robin, for all I know. What do you think of All the Money in the World? I actually haven't seen it yet. I'm very curious. It came out around Christmas time, and Christmas time we usually get overloaded with films at the theater, and we really had a lot this year. We had Jumanji, we had All the Money in the World, we had Downsizing, we had The Greatest Showman, we had Star Wars, we had The Post, we had Shape of Water expanding. There was way too much. I am looking forward to it, though. I dig Ridley Scott, and I'd be curious to see what he does with how he got Christopher Plummer in there. So looking forward to that. Yeah, I'll definitely be sure to check that out at some point, and we'll review it. August 10th, we have... This is where we get some weirder films. There's a family adventure with cyborgs called AXL. From some... I haven't even seen this distributor before. Global Road. they're not ringing a bell immediately, so I don't know how wide it'll go. There's a drama called Dog Days, but the big one that they just released the trailer for this, so everyone is kind of raving about it, is The Meg, which is essentially
Dumb name.
Well, here's the thing: they're calling it The Meg to hide the fact of
that it's a Jurassic World ripoff.
Yeah, to hide that it's Megalodon, which they say flat out in the trailer, and once they say it, the tone of the trailer immediately changes into like a comedy, because it's giant monster stuff, so it's obviously going to be bigger jaws, which looks like in the trailer. So I don't know, it's got some decent names behind it. It's got Jason Statham in it, who's usually pretty good at playing up the comedy and action roles. So looking forward to that. And the other film coming out, I have no idea if this will work or not, but there's apparently a comedy coming out. They haven't announced the title for it, but it's starring Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. So not much is known about this film. I don't even know if it'll come out on this date, but see, it might. Oh my God, August 17th. There's another 5 films in. They're really cramming them all into August. I think there's like Infinity War and all the solo Star Wars stuff's gonna take all the money that they're slamming everything into August here. You have there's this action film called Alpha, which I don't think they have a trailer out for it yet. It looks like it's gonna be kind of something like Apocalypto, I think. It looks like it's gonna be like a warrior film. They got wolves on the cover. You got Captive State, which is a kind of a sci-fi thriller by Rupert Wyatt, who's done Rise of the Planet of the Apes, starring John Goodman. Might be good. The romantic comedy Crazy Rich Asians, which is based on a book I think from a few years back. That actually might be the surprise among all these. Although it is going up against a film that I'm kind of curious to see if it'll work. It's called. Have you ever heard of this comedy? It's been pitched around for a while now. It's called The Happy Time Murders.
No.
Oh, you might dig this. It's a dark comedy about investigating the murder of puppets. And as you might expect, it's directed by Brian Henson. So I
guess that does make sense.
So it's a Jim Henson studio production of a dark comedy about murders. So it sounds bizarre, and this story's been kicked around the Jim Henson Studios for years. So I'm curious to see where it'll happen. Have you seen You Were? Oh, You Were Never Here. Yeah. Not yet, although I'm hearing everyone talk about this film. I'm hoping it'll come out soon. Well, at least in my market, because it's limited release. But no, I'm really looking forward. Everyone's saying it's great just for Joaquin Phoenix in it. I like the concept though. It seems like a very simple concept of trying to kind of amateur action hero trying to save I think he's trying to save the senator's girl in it. I think. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one. What else was there? Oh, then there's a little crime drama called 3 Seconds. I think it'll get swallowed up by either Crazy Rich Asians or Happy Time Murders. See, it's like a modern day Taxi Driver. Oh, nice. Now I'm really excited for it. Yeah, Taxi Driver is one of my favorites. So, August 24th. Now we're kind of whittling down to the.
August sucks.
Well, August can be an interesting time. It can be a moment where the lesser films have kind of cut off, so it's a chance to grab some extra money when you can. So August 24th, there's going to be a sci-fi thriller called Replicas. It's going to star Keanu Reeves. So it could go either way. And then, of course, we got the Slender Man movie. The Slender Man. You got to make the Slender Man.
People still care about Slender Man?
I guess. Well, we'll see. We'll see if it does anything. I don't know. I feel, it might be, a year too late to capitalize on this.
Yeah, I don't know. The last thing I heard about anything to do with Slender Man was, those girls killing that other girl.
Yeah.
Or did they kill her, or did they just stab her?
I think they just stabbed her.
She lived, right?
I think so.
I hope she lived.
I hope so. It's been a while since that happened, so.
Ugh.
And then probably not worth mentioning, but then at the end of August we've got Kin, which is a small sci-fi action film from Lionsgate, but Lionsgate has surprised me in the past. So, so that's about it for the summer. that we get to look forward to. So there's a few ones I'm looking forward to in there, but mostly as popcorn entertainment. There might be one or two that might surprise me. I might be surprised by stuff like kind of like Replica or Kin, or possibly the Happy Time Murders. The Happy Time Murders is one of those films that it sounds so bizarre you don't know if it'll work or not. So murderous puppets, whatever. Don't see that at the cinema every day.
True.
Do you want to talk a little about Anime Detour?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah.
We talked about it yesterday, but you know.
Yeah, I guess. Last weekend we went to Anime Detour. It's kind of become our kind of favorite local convention that we love to go to. And I ran way too many panels there where we talked about movies and cartoons. So, was it?
I'm not sure what movie Octavia's talking about.
Oh, he's talking about Rampage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, leave it to Brad Payton to take a franchise entirely about the monsters and make it about the humans. Actually, it's kind of even. Because honestly, like, the humans are... Brad makes the smart choice of making the humans kind of cartoons and making them kind of sort of dumb. But playing them up as caricatures. You know, like, if you've seen, like, you know, the Godzilla stuff, you know that, like, the military's useless. The characters are all just kind of, like, dorky and around a spout exposition and stuff like that. The monsters are really good in it. You do have to kind of wait a little bit through there. You gotta sit through some scientific gobbledygook to get to there. But once you get to, like, there's a great scene where, like, George is on the you know, the plane, and he busts out and he smashes up the plane and there's a big explosion. So that stuff's fun. You get to see buildings topple over, and George is a great character too. Like, he's got some personality where he messes with Dwayne Johnson. So, like I said, it's almost kind of a buddy picture at times. So, So it's snowing. I've had to be ridiculous. So.
All right, back to Detour.
Yes.
You did too many panels.
I did too many panels. Well, we started off with
Panel junkie.
We got an addiction. We got what called panel fever at conventions.
That's like all you did the whole time we were there.
Yep, I went nuts with it.
Talk.
We started with the twin.
Egotist.
Yeah, got a big fat head with this stuff. But we started off with the Twin Peaks panel.
Yeah, you had me be on it, and I wasn't expecting to do it. So. Well,
you had the Twin Peaks the cosplay going.
Yeah.
And that was surprising.
The other guy didn't mind.
No, he was digging it, and everyone else kind of dug it too, which is why.
If you say so.
Well, no, because you remember when we were going around the convention, and there were other people who saw your Twin Peaks costume, and they were like, "Oh, is there a Twin Peaks panel?" Yeah, you missed it. Ugh.
Yeah, they like the costume, but should I grab the log again?
Yeah, if you want to grab the log. Yeah, she made this log to carry around there, which is kind of like a smart move. She made it to this kind of like, you know, squishy, light little log that you could carry stuff in. Made it herself.
My log is very cuddly.
It is very cute. And she had like the whole like log lady get up too from the show. It was brilliant. And like most people like instantly recognized her, except for one person who thought that you had
that I had a body pillow.
That you had a log body pillow.
Log is best boy. I was like,
she said log is
what?
best.
What?
What? Yeah, most of the panels were my own. There were a few that we do group ones on. There are a few that I bring other people into.
I made a pocket in it too.
Yeah, we have collectives.
I sewed it because I couldn't find my sewing machine's pedal for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But it worked. It was functional. It was comfy cosplay, which you typically
squishy.
want. Yeah. But yeah, I like to get as many people as I can on panels if I can. So we were also on moderated panels where they had a central theme and they got people talking, and it was kind of an interesting back and forth.
I don't think it's good to have too many people on a panel because it's hard to get a word in.
It can be.
If you end up talking over people, like I was trying very hard not to talk over Ryan because I felt bad that I was on the panel when he probably didn't expect me to be. So
No, he's been on like on these panels with 3 people before.
I
so
wanted
he's
you all
used
to get your points out because I didn't have anything of real value to say.
You just wanted to spout log ladyisms, which is perfect. It was like the centerpiece of here.
I was a prop. I'm like your
What's the
I
word?
don't know, I'm like your sidekick or something, or the thing that comes around with you at the convention.
Yeah. But yeah, we talked a lot of stuff there. The one panel I like doing is the year in review of animated films, where we kind of talk about the big films, we bring to light smaller animated films, which we really need to do this year because last summer was a big slog to get through Cars 3 and Despicable Me 3, and then the Emoji Movie. Barf. And that job too. But then I got people hooked on Loving Vincent, which I know you love.
Fantastic movie.
Yep.
I recommend you all see it.
Yep, a lot of people got into it just with the concept once they heard it.
Oh,
so.
I mean, everything is an oil painting.
Every frame.
Every frame is an oil painting.
Every frame, man.
Done in the style of Vincent van Gogh.
Yep. Which is kind of
the story of Vincent van Gogh.
Which is kind of more impressive when you realize that it was rotoscope too.
Yeah.
So before they even did the paintings, they had to frame it like the paintings too, which takes a lot of work. So.
Oh, it's a beautiful movie. I cried.
Yeah. I also recommended the Breadwinner, which is kind of building up in. No. It was at a few festivals last year. Okay. It just a few weeks ago got on Netflix. And it's about this girl living in this Afghan village where her father is taken by terrorists, and she's basically, there's no other men in the house, so she's got to get money and food, so she dresses up like a boy, goes out into the world, gets food, and tries to get her dad back. And it's pretty good storytelling. Great animation too when you consider who's making it. So
cool. Yeah,
there's a lot of cool animated films we brought to light there. Mm-hmm. That, and I was able to convince people that Captain Underpants is a brilliant movie.
It's a fun movie.
And they were surprised, like, really? That film? Yeah, dude. Yeah, you got to give Captain Underpants a chance.
It's good. A lot of potty humor, but good.
But affectionate.
Kids love potty humor, though.
Yeah, but you can have potty humor, but it's an affectionate potty humor.
Professor Von Poopy Pants.
There, you feel the plight of Professor Von Poopy Pants for wanting to rid the world of child laughter. He makes some solid points about it.
He got teased because his name is Pee Von Poopy Pants.
I tease, but you kind of dig him because he's voiced by Nick Kroll, and Nick Kroll's great at playing these kind of like douchebaggy characters. So
Mary and the Witch's Flower. No, but I'm intrigued.
I've
seen the cover of it.
No, that's the latest Ghibli film that had a limited release a few weeks ago, I think. Yeah,
it sounds really familiar. I do like Ghibli films.
I'm curious, but I'm a little weary of some post-Miyazaki Ghibli. Some of it's been pretty good, but I don't know. I mean, after, Isao Takahata passed away, I'm just kind of like, man, we lost one of the greats,
You're just sad.
Well, because after Miyazaki left, they left stuff up to like Goro Miyazaki as his son, and he was kind of not as good. And then Isao Takahata came in and did the Princess Kaguya. It's like, let me show you how it's done, guys. Let me show you how to make a real animated film. So.
Well, apparently it's amazing.
I've heard good things. Well, I mean, it's Ghibli, so obviously it's gonna look good. Ghibli films are always amazing to look at.
They're done in a good style usually.
Yeah. So I might check it out. I'm excited though that it's they're doing kind of the Ghibli movies all summer at the theater. So I think Princess Mononoke is around like July. They're going through like all the Miyazaki stuff. So
sounds fun.
Every time I go to like the AMC's, I see the big posters saying like, "Here's all the Ghibli films coming out this year." Like, oh god, don't tempt me. Gotta go to all of them.
Go to all of them.
I gotta. So we did that. We did one of my favorite panels to do, even though I got to get up there early. But the Saturday morning cartoon panel is always fun because you always get people getting all nostalgic, and you get to bestow on people the wonders of the Mr. T cartoon and the Chuck Norris cartoons.
Remember that party room that you were telling me about a few years back, where they had cereal and cartoons?
Oh yeah, there was. I think it was between like either like Detour or Convergence, but there's a convention we went to where they would play cartoons. They'd have cereal, and every year I would try to go in there and I'd try to get them to play the weirdest crap. And one year I found they somehow found a DVD of Rambo: The Force of Freedom, and like, dude, you gotta put this on. It's like, oh, what? I've never even seen this. But it's Rambo like gone nuts with like GI Joe logic behind it. And they threw it on, and everyone lost their minds. You have Rambo throwing grenades at everyone, like
Wow.
even though it looks like he's pulling them out of his butt sometimes. He's breaking through chains with like you know how like they'll have like a glint in their eye, you know, when they're gonna power up. He has two glints in his eyes. He breaks out of the chains.
Just kind of remind you of the series of unfortunate events. They're always saying how Connell's eyes are all shiny when he's being evil or something. It's like that.
Yeah.
He's like going nuts that they're all shiny with like that evil gleam.
Yep.
Ah.
Yeah, I have fun with that because there's a lot of bizarre cartoons to showcase with that one. And then just most of like the usual panels where we talk about weird stuff like like the best animated movies. So we talk about like the greats some people might not have seen, stuff like Fantastic Planet and Watership Down, or they forgot about Watership Down and then we bring it back up and they're like, oh God, why did you do that? Why did you bring up that film where the bunnies get gored?
It's a sad one. It's like when
it's very
plague
sad.
dogs.
Oh, plague dogs
Cry,
too.
cry.
What's it with UK making sad British animation?
So sad. So sad.
And yeah, it was a great time. You know, it was exhausting, but always rewarding. You know, I have so much fun talking movies there. So I can't wait for the next convention.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So, well, here I'm getting close to the end here, so I might as well do the stuff I want to do. So, if you liked Rampage, you want to see more weird popcorn or video game movies, you want to check out my book, Pixels Premieres, A History of Video Game Movies. It covers just about every video game movie up to Resident Evil, the last chapter. So that far. Eventually, I'll add like, you know, Tomb Raider and Rampage and Assassin's Creed is in the book though. There's a lot of bizarre stuff and history behind all that. And be sure to enter our Movie of the Month contest. We're giving away John Wick, Keanu Reeves' best film in a long time, as well as a few other films. You can enter at the information below there on Twitch there with your Twitch account or Twitch subscription. And we will be back next week to review Super Troopers 2, the new Broken Lizards comedy. And we'll also be reviewing a new drama called Where is Kyra? And that'll be next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
So, good night, everybody.